The Light of Candelaria, a story of faith and tradition, a celebration that illuminates hearts. In a small town surrounded by mountains, where cobbled streets and adobe houses held the stories of generations, the Day of Candelaria was celebrated each year. It was a festivity that united the community, filling the air with the aroma of tamales, atole, and lit candles. But beyond the food and traditions, the Day of Candelaria was a reminder of the light that guides people through the darkest moments. In a humble house on the outskirts of town lived Doña Carmen, an elderly woman known for her kindness and unwavering faith. Every year, she was in charge of organizing the procession of the Virgin of Candelaria, a tradition that had endured for decades. Doña Carmen firmly believed that the light of the candles lit in honor of the Virgin was a symbol of hope and purification, a way to illuminate the path for those in need. This year, however, Doña Carmen faced a challenge. A severe storm had struck the town days before, leaving many families without electricity and with damaged homes. The people were discouraged, and some even doubted that the celebration could take place. "How can we celebrate if we don't even have light in our homes?" some said. But Doña Carmen, with her unshakable faith, reminded them, "The light of Candelaria does not come from wires or bulbs but from our hearts." On the day of the celebration, Doña Carmen woke up early to prepare everything. Despite the adversity, she had managed to gather candles and tapers donated by the neighbors. With the help of her granddaughter, María, she decorated the town's small chapel with flowers and colorful fabrics. "Grandmother, do you think people will come?" María asked worriedly. "Yes, my dear," Doña Carmen replied with a smile. "Faith moves mountains, and today it will move hearts." As evening fell, families began to arrive at the chapel, each holding a candle. Although the town was still dark, the light of the candles began to illuminate the streets, creating a bright path that led everyone to the chapel. Doña Carmen, with tears in her eyes, watched as the community united in the face of adversity. "Today, we do not only celebrate the Virgin of Candelaria," she said as the procession began, "but also the light we carry within us, which allows us to keep moving forward, even in the most difficult times." The procession moved slowly through the town streets, with chants and prayers filling the air with solemnity and hope. The candles, held by hands both large and small, shone like stars in the night. Upon reaching the main square, Doña Carmen lit a large candle in honor of the Virgin and asked everyone to do the same. "May this light remind us that, even when life seems dark, there is always a flame that guides us," she said. After the procession, the community gathered to share tamales and atole, prepared with the efforts of all. Despite the difficulties, the Day of Candelaria had become a moment of unity and hope. Doña Carmen, surrounded by her neighbors, felt that her faith had been rewarded. "The light of Candelaria does not only illuminate our streets," she said, "but also our hearts." That night, as the candles continued to glow in the windows of the houses, the town seemed transformed. The storm had passed, and though the damage remained, the people felt they could face any challenge. Before sleeping, Doña Carmen lit one last candle on her altar. "Thank you, Virgin of Candelaria," she murmured, "for reminding us that the most powerful light is the one we carry within." The next day, the town began to rebuild. Neighbors worked together, helping each other repair the storm's damage. Doña Carmen, though tired, felt full of energy. She knew that the light of Candelaria had touched the hearts of everyone in the town, bringing them closer together than ever. María, her granddaughter, watched her with admiration. "Grandmother, how did you know everything would be okay?" she asked. Doña Carmen looked at her lovingly and replied, "Faith, my dear, is like a candle. Even when the wind tries to put it out, if we protect it, it will always keep shining. And when we share that light with others, It multiplies and guides us all. As the days passed, life in the town returned to normal, but something had changed. The experience of the Day of Candelaria had left a deep mark on everyone. Families felt more united, and faith in the Virgin of Candelaria had strengthened. Doña Carmen, now more than ever, was seen as a pillar of the community, a woman whose faith and determination had illuminated the path through the darkest moments. Years later, when Doña Carmen was no longer there, the town continued to celebrate the Day of Candelaria with the same devotion and joy. The new generations listened to the story of that year when the light of the candles had brought everyone together, even in the midst of the storm. And every time they lit a candle, they remembered Doña Carmen's words. The light of Candelaria does not only illuminate our streets but also our hearts. Thus, the tradition continued, not only as a religious celebration but as a reminder that, even in the most difficult times, there is always a light that guides us toward peace and unity. And in every candle lit, in every tamal shared, and in every prayer, the spirit of Doña Carmen and the Virgin of Candelaria lived on, illuminating the path for those who believed in the power of faith and hope.
The story continues. Over time, the town became a place of pilgrimage. People from other places arrived each year to participate in the celebration of the Day of Candelaria, drawn by the fame of that place where fight had overcome adversity. The chapel, once small and humble, was expanded to accommodate visitors. The streets filled with stalls selling candles, flowers, and traditional food. The town, once known only for its mountains and river, was now famous for its community spirit and devotion to the Virgin of Candelaria. María, Doña Carmen's granddaughter, became responsible for organizing the celebration. She learned from her grandmother the importance of keeping the tradition alive and passing it on to new generations. Each year, before the procession, she gathered the town's children to tell them the story of that year when the light of the candles had united everyone. Faith is not just believing, she told them. It is acting, sharing, and keeping hope alive even when all seems lost. One of those children was Pedro, a curious boy full of questions. María, why is the Virgin of Candelaria so important? He asked one day. María smiled and replied, because she reminds us that even in darkness, there is a light that guides us. And that light is within us, in our hearts. Years later, Pedro became a young leader in the town, inspired by the stories of Doña Carmen and María. He created a project to help the most needy communities, spreading the message that the light of Candelaria could illumine any corner of the world. And so, the story of faith and hope continued, generation after generation.